Somebody made some poor financial decisions. Hello, creepy spooky people. Anna here. How are you guys doing? I have bought more books. Is that a surprise? I haven't uploaded a video in a few months, so these are the books that I've collected over the past few months, and I think I'm really trying to not buy as many books. But it just happens, you know? It just happens. You see a book, it sounds interesting, and then 2 months later you have 20 books and you're like, okay, maybe slow down a little bit. I think I'm gonna start going to my library and doing stuff like that. But I do have books that I've bought over the past few months that I wanted to discuss with you. First off, we did push back our book club. So book club's gonna be the 26th of this month, just because we don't typically read books that are as challenging as this one. This one's just like a little bit different than the books that we typically read. So I just want to make sure that we have enough time to finish that one. So yeah, Pushback Book Club. Again, you can find that book for free. It's The Monk by Matthew Lewis. So you guys still have time to give that guy a read. Anyway, back to what I recently purchased. What have we got here? We got kind of a mix of everything. We got some thriller, we got some horror, we got some fiction, just general fiction. We also got some French books that I'm really excited to talk about too. First book, oh my gosh, I was so excited to see this. The one thing I will say about Tess Gerritsen books, because they've been around forever, is she has a million that I've never read before. And so I saw this Gravity book by her, and I've never seen any sort of space book by Tess Gerritsen, so I was so excited. And this is an older book. Let me see when it came out. 2000. Man, 26 years ago. But it just says, Dr. Emma Watson's lifelong dream of working and studying abroad the International Space Station has finally come true. But it quickly turns into a nightmare when a culture of single-celled organisms begins to regenerate out of control and infects the crew. Emma must contain the outbreak and prevent as many deaths as possible. Back on Earth, her estranged husband is frantically working with NASA to bring her home. His efforts are in vain. With a contagion threatening all of humanity, there will be no rescue. This just sounds so fun. I think it's still going to be a medical thing. She was a doctor before she started writing full-time, so I think it's still going to be like a medical thriller, but that addition of space, I'm really excited for this one. Now this I also put on Instagram. I put the Pisces and this one, and I said, which one should I read? And you guys voted for Chlorine. So I bought this one, and then a few weeks later, I was like, okay, I really want to read the Pisces though. So I ended up getting the Pisces as well. This one says, Ren Yu is a swimmer. Oh my gosh, my cat scratched the ever-living crap out of this book. Her daily life starts and ends in the pool. Her teammates are her only friends. Her coach is her guiding light. If she swims well enough, she will be scouted, get a scholarship, go to a good school. Her parents will love her. Her coach will be kind to her. She will have a good life. But these are human concerns. These are concerns of those confined to land, those with legs. Ren grew up on stories of creatures of the deep, of the oceans and rivers, creatures that called sailors to their doom, that dragged them down and drowned them, that feasted on their flesh. The creatures that she's always longed to become, the mermaid. Ren aches to be in the water. She dreams of the scent of chlorine, the feel of it on her skin, and will do anything she can to make a life for herself where she can feel free, no matter the pain, no matter what anyone else thinks, no matter how much blood she has to spill. So the reason I purchased this one is because I read Into the Drowning Deep, and I am just on a mermaid kick. Every book that I read, I want it to be mermaids. So I got a few mermaid books to quench that thirst of wanting to read mermaids. So the next is The Pisces by Melissa Broder. I had read a book by her last year. I think it's called Death Valley. Loved it. Thought it was great. So I'm actually really excited for this one. I think this one might be more up my alley than this one is, but I guess we will just have to read them both and see. Well, I already read this one, but I haven't read this one yet. Lucy has been writing her dissertation on Sappho for years when she and her boyfriend break up in a dramatic flame out? Never heard that. After she bottoms out in Phoenix, her sister in Los Angeles insists Lucy dog sit for the summer in her gorgeous Venice Beach home. But when Lucy becomes entranced by the eerie, attractive summer while sitting alone on the beach one night, her life, including her understanding of what love should look like, takes on an unexpected turn. So I think that the mermaid in this book is more metaphorical. Well, you know, same with this, but anyway, a masterful blend of vivid realism and giddy fantasy, pairing hilarious frankness with pulse-racing eroticism. The Pisces is a story about falling in obsessive love with a mermaid, a figure of Sirenic fantasy whose very existence pushes Lucy to question everything she thought she knew about love, lust, and the meaning in one life in the one life that we have. That's the Pisces. I'm very excited to read that one. I think I will be reading that one soon. Next up, I got Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I already read this one. It was good. It was really good. This is Leah is Changed, a marine biologist. She left for a routine expedition months earlier, only this time her submarine sank to the seafloor. When she finally surfaces and returns home, her wife, Miri, M-I-R-I, Miri, knows that something is wrong. Barely eating and lost in her thoughts, Leah rotates between rooms in her apartment, running the taps morning and night. Whatever happened in the vessel, whatever it was they were supposed to be studying before they were stranded, Leah has carried part of it with her onto dry land and into their home. And as Mary searches for answers, desperate to understand what happened below the water, she must face the possibility that the woman she loves is slipping from her grasp. I will be giving you guys the breakdown on that in my reading wrap up whenever that comes. So I have May 1st and then we'll get to the June books. I read that one in June. Anyway, this one actually, my husband went to the bookstore. I can't remember why, but I was not feeling well. This was, actually this was like a month ago. Oh, you know what? I think he went to get a something on baking, like a cookbook or something. Anyway, I was like, hey, while you're there, pick your girl up a book. And so he's like, well, I don't know what you have. Da, da, da. I said, send me a picture of 3 books you think look interesting. And this was one of them. I'm like, ooh, that actually sounds really good. So it says For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. It looks like this. I have never seen this book or heard of this author or anything, but it says Teddy Crutcher has won Teacher of the Year at the elite Belmont Academy. I am loving academic type books this year. I don't know what it is. It all started with Nocticadia and that academic dark romance kind of book, but I'm really into academic stuff. Oh, another book is going to be in my wrap up. I think I read that one in May. So the next wrap up that I have, another academic book that I just loved. So I'm really into the academic stuff. Anyways, okay, yeah, Belmont Academy, home to the best and brightest. He says his wife couldn't be more proud, though no one has seen her in a while. Dun, dun, dun. Teddy really can't be bothered with a few mysterious deaths on campus that are looking more and more like murder, or the student digging a little too deep into Teddy's personal life. His main focus is pushing these kids to their full academic potential. All he wants is for his colleagues and the endlessly meddlesome parents to stay out of his way. If not, well, they'll get what they deserve. It's really too bad that sometimes excellence comes at a high cost. I don't know what this is about. I mean, I have no idea, but this just sounds really fun. So I'm excited to read that one. I thought it looked good. I was like, oh, you did a good job. The next one that I got, we are doing Summerween bingo over on Patreon, and it's been really fun. So some of these books I got for that purpose. This one I got for one of our bingo squares. It's called One of the Girls by Lucy Clark. I have never read a Lucy Clark book before, but this one, I mean, it's exactly what I want. I want to go to the beach and I want to read about people going to a bachelorette party and getting murdered. Does that not just sound like a wonderful way to spend summer? So it says, on the first night, we swam under a blanket of stars. On the second night, the games began on the clifftop terrace. On the third night, the ideal cracked, secrets and lies whispering on the breeze. And by the final night, there was a body on the rocks below. So yeah, I think it's just a group of Bachelorette. Oh, it says here, the 6 of us arrived on a beautiful Greek island, dreaming of sun-drenched beaches and blood orange sunsets, ready to lose ourselves in the freedom of a weekend away with friends. And then that happens. Gripping, twisty, full of scorching suspense. It just sounds like the perfect pool book or the perfect beach book. So I am very excited for this. I just have to get my ass to the beach so I can read that. Next, I actually did stop at a used bookstore. So there used to be a used bookstore near me. It's where I got, honestly, I would say probably like 80% of my books, because when they first opened, everything was half off. So I was getting books for $3. I mean, sometimes $1, but you know, the decent newer books were like $3. And that's where I got, honestly, a huge portion of my books. Well, they have since closed down and moved pretty far away from me, but there's another one about an hour away. I mean, they're kind of all over, but there's one about an hour away, and on my way to my book club with my friends, you pass that bookstore. So on the way back, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stop there and see what they have. Honestly, that one kind of sucked compared to the one that we had here, and it was right down the street from my house. Oh, it's such a bummer that they closed. But I picked up a few things from there, and this was one of them. This is Plato's Selected Myths. And honestly, A few of the things in here I already have. Some of them I don't, but I've been wanting to read The Cave again, and the only way that I have it is in this huge book. I don't even know where it is. I don't want to lug out this whole giant ass book. So I saw this, that there were different things in here. I think Symposium's in here as well. No? Did I make that up? I made that up. But anyway, The Cave's in here. So I got this so that I could read The Cave but not have that giant ass book. There's other stuff in there that I haven't read before, so I'm excited for that. Okay, next I picked up Bone of My Bone. This is by Johanna Van Veen. Look at the sprayed edges. They're so beautiful. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Okay, relax. Yeah, I don't know. Some people don't like the sprayed edges. They have sprayed edge fatigue. Not me. Spray every single edge you got. I think that they're so beautiful. I think they add so much more, and you put them on their shelf and then they become like a whole ass decoration. I think that they're brilliant. So this one I've already read. Well, I'll read it again, whatever. A school's grin is eternal. The year is 1636. Sister Ursula, a young nun, fleeing the ruins of her convent, and Elspeth, a sharp-witted peasant, escape a band of marauding soldiers and disappear in the Bavarian forest. War scorches the land and no one survives it alone. Amid the devastation, they find something in the arms of a dying man, the gilded skull of a saint. It is said that if you reunite the saint's skull to the body, a wish will be granted. This sounds so adventure-esque and so different from her previous book, so I'm just so excited to dive into this. Desperate for salvation, each with their secret desires of their own, Ursula and Elsbeth follow a ragged map across the blighted countryside, but darkness follows them. A necromancer drawn to the relic's power, the saint herself whispering at night, and as the lines between blessing and curse blur, the women must face a harrowing truth. The magic they seek comes at a cost. At the journey's end, they face an impossible choice, one that could tear apart everything they know or bind them to each other forever. I don't know, this sounds, like I said, just so different from anything else that she's written. I'm just very excited to pick that guy up. Next book, this happens to me. So right now, for example, I read one book about mermaids and then I buy 5 books about mermaids. I read one book about the forest and then I buy 5 books about the forest. But the problem is, before I get through all these mermaid books, I'll read something else and then be stuck on something else. You know what I mean? So this one I got because I was in a very weird reading mood. I read a few weird books and then I was like, okay, I'm only gonna read weird books for now. And then I buy this one and then now I'm on mermaids. I'm like 12 different genres away from this one. This is Monica Ojeda's Jawbone. I've seen this cover before, but I had never read the back or anything, and supposedly it is very weird. And I mean, I'm not currently reading weird books, but that itch will get me again. But the cover is really cool. There's like this albino crocodile. No, that's an alligator. No, that might be a crocodile. I don't know. But the cover is very strange. So, and the back sounds very strange. It says, when Fernanda, Annalise, and their friends from the Delta Bilingual Academy convene after school, Annalise leads them into thrilling but increasingly dangerous rituals to a rhinestoned, Dior-scented drag queen god of her own invention. Even more perilous is the secret Annalise and Fernanda share, rooted in the dark in which violence meets love. Meanwhile, their literature teacher, Miss Clara, who is obsessed with imitating her dead mother, struggles to preserve her deteriorating sanity. Each day she edges nearer to a total break with reality. Interweaving pop culture references and horror concepts drawn from Herman Melville, H.P. Lovecraft, and anonymous creepypastas, Jawbone is an ominous, multivocal novel that explores the terror inherent in the pure potentiality of adolescence and the fine line between desire and fear. Excuse me, what? You had me at rhinestone Dior-scented drag queen god of your own invention, you know? And then next one, this is I mean, look at these sprayed edges. They're so beautiful. Okay, this is the Resurrectionists by A. Ray Dunlap. This cover, it's got me in a chokehold. It's so beautiful. And again, the reason why I got this is because right before I went to the bookstore, I had read a book about, what do you call them? Let me read the back cover and then maybe the word will pop up. Okay, this says Scotland, 1826. James Willoughby has abandoned his posh, sheltered life at Oxford to pursue a lifelong dream of studying surgery at, I don't know how to pronounce, Edinburgh, you know, that place in Scotland that I don't know how to pronounce. The university offers everything James desires, except the chance to work on a human cadaver. For that, he must join one of the private schools in Surgery Square at a cost he cannot afford. In desperation, he strikes a deal with Averin Nye McKinnon, a dashing young dissectionist with an artist's eye for anatomy and a reckless passion for knowledge. But James soon realizes he's made a devil's bargain. Nye is a body snatcher! And James has unwittingly become his accomplice, rapidly descending into the underground ranks of Resurrectionists. Okay, so fucking the word I was looking for was the title of the damn book. God damn it, you idiot. Okay, so I read a book right before going to the bookstore to purchase this one about a resurrectionist. Like, they were in there. It was a historical fiction about medical shit in the 1800s. It was wonderful. But anyway, so that's why I bought this one, because again, I was on a kick of resurrectionists, of body snatching in the 1800s. Very specific, but that's what happens to my brain. Do you guys get like that too? You read one book and you're like, well, now I have to read every book about this subject. Anyway, still haven't read this one yet, but okay, Resurrection. Body snatchers infamous for stealing fresh corpses from churchyards to use as anatomical specimens. Before long, James is caught up in a life or death scheme as rival snatchers compete in a morbid race for power. Exquisitely macabre and delightfully entertaining, combines fact with fiction into a tale of the risk and reward of scientific pursuit, the passions of the boldest pioneers, and the anatomy of human desire. That was what interested me so much about that previous book that I read. It was The Bone Garden by Tess Gerritsen. Learning the history of medicine, and honestly, I mean, we'll go into it when I review that book, but like kind of the gross stuff that happened, but then also the morality between it, snatching these bodies. Fuck me. Sorry about that. My camera turned off because it was overheating, and then so I just went and ate a cupcake. But what I was saying was that the previous book that I read, it was interesting questioning the morality of it, because on one hand, obviously digging up dead bodies is not a good thing, but on the other hand, if these people are learning anatomy and how to dissect a body, or not surgery and stuff, they should have some sort of live specimen, right? So it was an interesting duality is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, excited to read that also. Next, I got Joan Didion's The Year of Magical Thinking. I read a book by her recently, a few months ago, I don't know. And this one, it just says, I guess it doesn't really say much, from one of America's most iconic writers, a stunning book of electric honesty and passion. Joan Didion explores an intensely personal yet universal experience, a portrait of marriage, a life in good times and bad that will speak to anyone who has ever loved a husband or wife or child. So I don't know. I really liked the last book that I read from her, and like it says in the back, this one seems a little bit more personal, so excited to see what that's about. Okay, now we got our foreign books here. So most of these are French, and then there's one that's from some other country. I'm not sure where off the top of my head. I'm sorry, and I'm not sure which one it is. But the first one that I got was this Marguerite Duras book. I do not know how to pronounce this. Sorry, I meant the title of the book because it's in French. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's called The English Lover, I believe is the translation in English. And it says, a brutal murder is committed in a small town in rural France. The dismembered corpse is dragged into pieces from a railway viaduct onto trains passing below. The victim was a deaf mute. The killer, her cousin Claire, may or may not be mad. In a series of interviews with a visiting writer, Claire, her husband, and a friend gradually reveals the story behind the crime. Their words create an unforgettable picture of lost passion, a suffocating marriage, and the vein of tragedy which underlies the outward placidity of village life. So I don't know what this is about, but this was from the used bookstore. I was like, a murder? I'm in. So yeah, got this bad boy. $3.50. Same, oh, this was from the used bookstore as well. This one was $9, which is a little expensive, I guess, for a used book, but whatever. Okay, so for these bad boys, this is what I was gonna do for a reading vlog or whatever, but then I'm like, I thought I was going to get to them quicker than I was. So I'm just going to tell you what they are because they all seem very interesting. So this one is The Tenant by Roland Topper. And the back here says, when Trelkovsky, a Parisian in desperate need of a place to live, comes across an affordable apartment, he jumps at the chance to rent it, undaunted by the fact that the previous tenant hurled herself screaming through the window. What happens next is a harrowing descent into paranoia and madness as a series of bizarre events unfolds that leaves Trelkovsky doubting his sanity and fearing for his life. First published in French in 1964 and adapted for Roman Polanski's 1976 film version, Roland Topper's surreal and hallucinatory horror masterpiece The Tenant returns to print at last in this edition, which includes a new introduction by R.B. Russell, which also forgot that this was made into a movie as well. But anyway, yeah, so that is what started this weird descent into these French books. French books are just so messed up. I just love them. And I am just so excited to read anything that I can from French literature, especially in the past. Okay, this is by Jean Ray. It's called Malpertuis. The cover is so freaking cool. It's just these figures that are bleeding into each other that it kind of looks like either the film got messed up or like they're on fire. I don't know. It looks very cool. And this guy says, okay, it first appeared in French in the dark year of 1943. It says that it's a reinvention of the Gothic novel. Okay, Ray tells his gloomy tale by means of puzzle box of nested narratives wrestled in a set of manuscripts stolen from a monastery. A bizarre collection of distrustful relatives has gathered together in an ancient stone mansion of a sea-trading dynasty for the impending death of the occult scientist Uncle Cassiv, and the reading of his will. Forced to dwell together for the remainder of their lives within the stifling walls of Malpertuis for the sake of the cursed inheritance, they escape their banal existence. I always pronounce that word wrong. I know it's not banal. It's banal. That is one word that I cannot get right, and I don't know why. Banal. Did I say that right the first time? No, I said banal. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Banal existence by means of love affairs and secret plots as the building slowly exposes a malevolence that leads to a series of ghastly deaths. The eccentric personalities, Malpertuis houses, which include an obsessive taxidermist, a brooding daughter, a trio of vengeful spinsters, and a former paint store manager who has gone mad, begin to shed like skins to reveal yet another hidden story behind the novel structure, one that turns the haunted house tradition on its head and culminates in an apocalyptic denouncement. I'm so excited for this. So yeah, I don't know. This sounds good as fuck. Then I also got this one, The Employee by Jax Sternberg. It looks like this. This one, those are obviously on the spookier side. These next two are, I think, less creepy and maybe a little bit more strange. But this one says, a nameless employee stands outside the door of his office, hesitating to enter because he is 5 minutes late. A banal, she's learning, she's growing up. Opening, echoing a banal, title. That immediately launches into a frenetic narrative that gallops across genres, modes, and galaxies. From the account of his feral childhood with a nymphomaniacal mother, okay, so maybe this one is disturbing, I don't know, multiple fathers, and a perishing supply of siblings, to his early development of a third arm and a second jawless head, the employee unspools his subsequent life as cherry tree prisoner, voraciously unlucky lover, dead man, larva, traveling salesman of intuitility, murder suspect, and many other employments, including that of a ladder descending bureaucrat and department store wrapper. I also think that some of these books, I'm gonna do a whole video on just weird books. So I feel like this one will fit into that pretty well. Years pass, return, and reverse through a series of inflicting hellscapes as the tension builds between an untrammeled imagination willing to commit any crime against the laws of time and space, the inescapable rigidity of a family, work, society, and ultimately the mind. I don't know, but I'm gonna read it. Okay, this one is French too. First published in French in 1958. So then that means this one might not be French? I thought this one was. Okay, this one is The Tower of Love by Rothschild. I don't know if that's how you pronounce this. Hey, so I googled it. It is pronounced Rothschild. So, got that wrong. But this actually is a pseudonym for a woman wrote this guy. It says, when Jean Malot, I don't know if you're going to pronounce that either, a young native sailor is appointed assistant keeper of an Armin lighthouse off the coast of Brittany. Is it pronounced Brittany? Brittany? He is drawn into a lonely, dark world of physical peril, sexual obsession, and necrophilia, my favorite topic. I don't know why that shows up so much in books that I read, but it always is used in a cool way. Okay, anyway, the lighthouse is a chamber of locked doors and terrible secrets, and the home to the eccentric, embittered keeper he is to assist. Matherin Barnabas, an illiterate, irascible, and grizzled old man who appears to be more animal than human. Tell me these all don't sound so freaking cool. Time passes in alternating stages of mind-numbing monotony and bouts of horror as our heroes struggle against the endless assaults of mind and loneliness, and only his duties, his mind fraying with guilt, and his mute companion for distraction. The sea evolves into a wild forest, the lighthouse itself into a monster that Jean must tame if he is to survive. First published in French in 1899 and never before translated, this gripping novel retains its shock value even more and will be of keen interest to readers of whatever. Okay, so actually maybe they all are published in French, but maybe one of these writers is not French. Maybe that's what it is. I don't remember. Okay, so that's what I got. I mean, talk about all over the spectrum. We got mermaids, we got weird books, we got French fucked up shit, which I'm super excited for. We got digging up bodies, and then we got just basic thrillers. We got a little bit of everything. And I'm very excited to dig into these bad boys, and I'm gonna do my best to not buy so many books from here on out. I'm gonna take a little book buying break. But yeah, let me know if you guys have picked up anything recently. Let me know which one of these sounds most interesting to you, and also let me know if you guys prefer reading vlogs or if you guys just prefer me sitting down and chatting about books. You let me know. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another horror video. Bye guys!